I was dancing to
Look,
the promo, girl.
I was trying to unmute myself at the same time. Like, this is why you need a production team or somebody else assisting you, because trying to do it from a laptop and a phone can sometimes be a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But we are in the building. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Deanna C, with the 5678 podcast. I got my homegirl here, Jennifer Nichols, with
Up
me.
in here, we back, y'all. We back.
And today we are going to be talking about how to prepare for performances and competitions. I feel like this will be quality information for especially you newbies. But first, before we get into that, make sure that you follow us at Divine Dance All Star Apparel on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, as well as Instagram. Also, we do have this is my Facebook page where you can get a lot of information from, but we also have an affiliate group which has the same name, that if you want to make posts, that needs to be approved first. And if you want to ask questions or get information, you can join the group on Facebook. And once you follow this page, it will notify you when we go live as well. So also don't forget to follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel, where you can get different tutorials on how to make uniforms and background information related to the majorette community. Also, if you are in need of a flyer or crest or a logo, you can hit me up at Divine Dance All Star Apparel or at divinedanceallstars@gmail.com, as well as flyers, or if you just need information about how to create a flyer, I don't mind sharing that with you. As well as if you need a dance mix for your routines, prom, field show, parade, I basically do all categories with voiceovers. You can contact me at the same location as well. So once again, we are talking about how to prepare for performances and competitions. So make sure that you share the live with your family and friends and tag a couple of people. I have several people that hit me up after the fact and be like, "Oh, I watched your live." And I'm like, "You're not actually in the live." A lot of people watch the replay, but we like to have people watching the live so we can get, comments and questions, and we can answer your comments and questions while we're on live.
Yeah.
But if you do have comments or questions, you can always DM either one of us, and we will be more than happy to share.
Happy, y'all.
Yes, because I may start tagging.
I don't have any secrets.
Right. We're here to build a community. We're here to share with the community and grow the community in a positive way. So once again, our topic is how to prepare for performances and competitions. So Jennifer, I have an icebreaker question. I usually try to come up with one for every episode. And the first question, or the icebreaker question, is: what are some essentials needed for any performance or competition, or essentials that you may need? Do you want me to go first?
You can, or
okay.
I can go.
So what I feel like some essentials are needle and thread, safety pins, and bobby pins. To me, those are essentials, because you may run into a situation where a dancer may rip their costume, or they may need something. If you can't sew, you can safety pin it in place. Bobby pins, because a lot of teams like to wear hair extensions, and we don't want ponytails and weave flying across the floor. So to me, those are 3 essential items that you need for any performance or competition. It's not all, but those are my main 3. So how about
you? For me, it is the same. Hot glue gun.
Yep.
For that. And one thing I learned, I got the portable hot glue gun, because it has been some places where these uniforms have been ripped or something, and I couldn't find an outlet. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give me a portable hot glue gun.
Smart. I didn't even think
girl,
about that.
I've been doing that, and that alone changed my life.
Right.
I bring. Oh, girl, you need to see my bag. It's everything: sanitary napkins, hygiene products for the girls, extra water, just extra everything, extra lotion, deodorant, even a razor to shave, because nail polish. makeup. Girl, if I could put an extra dancer in my bag just in case, I would.
That's why they call alternates.
Yep. Yep. But my teams be small and I end up using all my girls anyway.
Right.
So, and it be sometimes I'd be like, let me just make sure I know this routine good enough.
Just in case.
Just in case.
I did that one time. I competed in a competition with my dance team, and it was the very first one.
Ooh, how did that
and because
go?
They were so afraid. I think it was Warren's competition because that was, I think it was the first one we ever did. I don't know if it was the first year or the second year, but you really couldn't tell because I looked like a kid. But they had me to do a solo spot. And the judges come in and the last dancer was not needed. Y'all did really well. And even though I didn't do horrible, it really was pointless for me to get out there. But for some reason, they wanted me to get out there. So for my girls, I got out there.
I bet it was.
Because all I did was like some fortes, a leap, and a heel stretch. Like I didn't really do anything special. Like, but I was really there for moral support, and we got second place. So.
That's so 5, 6, 7, 8, baby.
Yeah, that was our only, and I think it was either Divas or Olive Branch or Infamous Dancing Dolls that placed first. I can't remember which team. Yeah, so I feel like that was really great for our very first competition. So I was like, shoot, y'all talking about me, I got second place.
Me and my heel stretch.
Yeah, my little heel stretch. That I can still do a heel stretch.
Girl, you came up in my memories, and it was showing how to do the correct heel stretch.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I have not lost. Not because I just don't do that style of dancing as much. Like I sing in a band or we dance, or when I'm out, I'll dance. But like doing a whole lot of technical stuff, I don't do as much. So it'll take me like maybe 2 or 3 weeks to stretch and stuff to really get my flexibility back. But yeah, those are some essential things. So Jennifer and I, if you're just joining in, both agreed that needle and thread, safety pin, hot glue gun, bobby pins are like some of the essentials that you need. Water, snacks. And I say water and snacks really should be priority because unfortunately, a lot of these competitions they don't provide those things for their dancers. I usually do peanut butter crackers because they help get they fill you up and they give you protein. Yeah. And I may have a little fruit, but see, with fruit, it's a little acidic. So, if you eat fruit and start moving around, it may, cause you to be a little queasy. So I usually do peanut butter and crackers if they're not allergic to peanut butter and crackers.
Right.
So, that's our first question. Once again, we are talking about how to prepare for performances and competitions. For me, I think you have to prepare differently. It's a different mind state for a performance and a competition. But I also say when you're doing a performance, perform like you're competing, because once you get to the competition, you already have that experience. So our next question is, what is the first step in preparing for a performance and or competition? What is the first step? So you guys make sure that you tag a few people, make sure that you share, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe as we get into this conversation. So Jennifer.
All right. Well, girl, band and HBCU style, that's my forte with everything. So the first step in preparing for I think up here they don't call them so much as competitions. I think they call them like Battle of the Bands or something like that, showdowns. So the first thing is to decide as an entire staff, what is it? What would be the field show? Will there be a theme? Everything. Everybody has to agree on every song that has to be done, how we want each section of the band and each auxiliary to be represented. So we have to make sure, if I pick a song, I have to make sure that's a song that the band is capable of playing.
Yeah.
So that comes first. And pretty much just after that, communication with the dancers and the parents. They know about a month in advance. When the showdown is, we will start with our normal practice, and the last 2 weeks we will start doing every single day. But as far as the staff the staff coming together. That's like the absolute first step.
Okay. So that's different from like community teams or competition teams. I'm not exactly sure because you have to have more people involved. But with a community team, from my experience, what we would do first is I would pick the music or first decide what category we would compete in. And I'm talking about from a competition standpoint, because most teams nowadays, they compete. They rarely do performances now. But if you're talking about a competition outlook, I would say decide what categories you want to be in. Some teams are capable of doing all of the categories, but when you're a new team, I always suggest maybe doing 2 categories, like parade is always good and creative is always good because you will have a better chance of placing in those categories versus field show and stand battle. And I say that because a lot of teams, their main focus is stand battle. Like they may come up with, I knew one team, they created a field show, and that was the field show they performed in every competition. But when it came to stand battle, they would switch up their stand battle routine. So their focus was on that. And all they had to do was run over their field show or whatever category that they were in, So for me, I would find what category I want to do in, select my music, and put my music together. A lot of teams wait till the week of competition to put their music together. And I know this because I mix music for a lot of teams, and they hit me up 2 days before the competition. Hey, can you throw my mix together? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. But I don't feel like that's beneficial because you really don't have ample time to run through the mix and the transition. So the third thing is putting your music together. So first I said, make sure you know what categories you want to do, select your music, and have your music mixed. After that, then you can start coming up with choreography. I typically like to mix between doing 8 counts that we may have, stored away, allowing the girls to add some stuff in. And then we, go through and see if we need to increase the difficulty with stunts or if we need to add some more technical stuff here and there. And then after we do that, we just practice routine until, we get to the last week of the routine. I dropped my phone on the floor. And I broke my charge in the process.
Oh, girl. You should have shared that post, girl.
Yeah, I was sharing. That's what I was doing while I was on the phone. I'm usually using my phone to like display the information on the screen because it's just a one-woman show right now. So how should you prepare for multiple categories in a competition? Okay, let's say you're doing 2 or more. Whether you're a new team or veteran team, how should you prepare for multiple categories in a competition?
Now, it just may be me, but I think the smartest thing to do is when you have a team and you start to do your research with how competitions go, you kind of already know like what categories that you will be interested in and doing. So say for instance, you have a team that's, rarely new, probably a couple years old. And so, stunts, technique, all of that is not their strong suit. So when you get, when the season starts, I would start with, like some for real, like boot camp, like doing camps to focus on those types of things. And once camp gets out the way and the season actually starts, you hire somebody to teach a field show. You hire or you'll be the one to teach stands, but I think you should dedicate a day or a day or 2 or maybe a week for each, different category, because doing it, and once it gets closer to it, then you'll be able to like run through, the different routines within one practice. But I think when it's more so like a rush job, there's, kids tend to get forgetful, things start running together, you get frustrated, they get frustrated, parents are frustrated because you're keeping their kids longer than what you said. I think it's just like a whole unorganized mess. And I like being organized.
Right,
And so
right.
if I can space everything out, like today we doing stands. Tomorrow it's all about the routine. The next day we're just gonna stretch and do stunts, stuff like that. So then when these competitions come around and we find one that we want to do, we just go ahead and sign up for it and just practice. Like it's not new. It won't be completely new to anybody. It'd be like, okay, this is what we've been preparing for.
For me, because the team that I competed with the most was the high school team. So what I would do, we always competed in either creative, because that was just my strong point, coming up with creative routines. Field show, stand battle, and maybe parade, because parade is mainly lines and 8 counts, you know, and your music has a lot to do with it as well. But really, field show, creative, and stand battle. So depending on the competition, what I would do is the first half of practice, we will focus on the routine. Then the last half of practice, we will focus on the stand battle, because you have to constantly build like small routines and stand battle, so you can have enough to, you know, go against the other team. So, and I would have the girls go home, hey, your homework for the night is come up with 2 8 counts. And I'll piece the 2 8 counts together, and either we have a routine or we'll have a stand battle. You know, don't be afraid to use your captains, co-captains, or even, you know, just your dancers, because you'd be surprised like what kind of routine you can come up with in such a short amount of time. You know, now you do have to be careful, and you have to let your dancers know, hey, do not take the dancing dolls routine and bring it back to practice or any other team you might have been on. Because I had that happen to me one time. This one girl, she taught the girls a routine, and this is me in my, you know, novice state of being a coach, not knowing. She taught the routine or whatever. I was like, oh, that's a good routine. Come to find out that whole routine belonged to somebody else. And I felt like them folks off of Bring It On. When the coach was going around to every kid, and I was just sitting there
doing the same routine.
And I had another coach that I brought in. He did that same thing. He took one of the male majorette teams in the city. I don't know if they still have them, but at the time, he took their routine. We did some of the routine. They got up and did some of the routine too. And I was like,
you know what? I had a male coach once that did that. It was a stand, and I just happened to be going through some videos, and I saw another male team doing the same stand. I was just like,
yeah, see, that's why I made that post about copying.
But and it's, I don't know, with me doing stands from other schools, especially like HBCUs, my girls like it. So, you know, I personally think it's okay. I think you should definitely not wear it out, of course. But if there's like a stand that you like, you know, I think that's okay. But I think what got me about that situation, he was just like, my stuff original every day, all day. And then I saw this and I was just like, wow, you're just a whole liar.
I mean, it's different. HBCUs is a little different because we're not going to be competing against them at all.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about any local team or, you know, team nationally, you never know who you're going to come across in these competitions. And I understand that mimicking other people is a form of flattery, but you got to be real careful about that, because you may not know who you're going to come against when you're competing. Now, it's one thing to take a move or a stand or remix it and switch up the moves or something like that and make it be your own arrangement. That's a little different, because there's only so many steps that you could do. Like, you know, this right here is kind of universal. So you can't, you know, get offended if you see some similar moves, but the exact same routine, that's where it becomes a problem.
When it comes like a whole count or, you know, a march, just anything like real specific.
Right. So when preparing for multiple categories, you know, like I said, you have to allot a certain time. I usually create a schedule too. And see, we only had 2 days. We had Tuesdays and Thursdays, and maybe like 2 weeks before the competition, we would do like 3 or 4 days. So we had to cram a lot into, excuse me.
Why do these I guess competitions, why do people, I'm sorry, prepare for competitions like so close together? That's one thing I never understood, but I always thought it was something I was missing. I was like, maybe their team is just capable, or
if you're a community team where you meet 3 to 4 times a week for 3, 4, however many hours, I don't think that's impossible. But if you're a school team, that's going to be difficult to do because you only meet 2 or 3 days out of the week. And it's almost like, it's like the parents sometimes we want their kids to compete regularly, or, in order to have a team or maintain a team, you have to be constantly doing stuff. Me, I always would say 1 competition a month, unless you have built enough in your repertoire to where you can compete. Like, let's say we start in the summer. And this is why, like, for schools, it's better to pick your team like in April, May, because you can get your technique and do the summer. And by the time the fall comes around, you'll have enough routines to compete. But with schools, we also have to do football games, that Friday. So it's a little more complicated having a school team than a community team. Like a community team, you can make up your rules and you practice to midnight as long as the parents,
if you want to,
But at a school, you got to be done really by 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
and that's pushing it.
Yeah.
Because, the principal or the building engineer, they have to close up and they got to get prepared for school.
And everything got to be approved, uniforms.
You got to fill out forms. And, we got to, that's a good episode to talk about the differences between community teams and school teams and stuff. Yeah, that's a good idea to discuss. So let's go to our next question. Is, what are some things you do the day, and I probably wrote this wrong.
The day before
No, that's wrong. What are some things you do? It's supposed to say the day before the practice. I don't know. So basically the question is, what do you do in your final day or the final practice before the competition?
Oh, girl, we are drilling. Mm-hmm. And if it's, one thing that I have learned is when we need to make a routine that doesn't count on where it doesn't matter how many girls are dancing. I learned that my very first year of working with that school. So if it's, a situation to where I don't need about 2 or 3 girls, that day would be, drilling and cutting.
Right.
And that's about it. We're going over everything. More than likely the girls' hair will already be done. Because the practices tend to run late. We are typically outside the whole time because we don't practice by ourselves the day before. We got to practice with the band. So that'll be the day where the band director takes complete control of everything. So we're outside and we're drilling that field show in the ground. Afterwards, I'm going over last minute checklist, making sure they have everything. By this time, I've administered, or distributed uniforms. They know what they're wearing. They know their hair expectations. They know what time to be back at the school so we can prep and leave and all of that stuff. But that's pretty much it. I mean, usually a nervous wreck. I'm not nice.
No coach is the week of the day before. We running around like chickens with our head
Baby,
cut
I don't want to hear about cramps, hungry, my leg, my dog. I don't want to hear about none of that. Baby, if you can't do it, just go home. Because I came with you today.
Right. Because like for me, the week before, I usually try to do the cuts before the night of, because I don't want to have to make the girls constantly readjust. Now, if I have to cut, I will, but I try to do the cuts a week before. And the night before, what I do is I do each section and we clean up Well, this the week before. We clean up each section, make sure everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows the counts, everybody facials and feet and toes and all that stuff. But the night before, I make them do it by themselves so that they know for sure what the routine is. I even had them go to their specific spot on the dance floor so they will already know what to do. Then I may put them in groups of 2, and it all depends on how many people that I have. If I have
Right.
a large team, then I may do like 3 or 4 at a time, but a small team, I'll do like one by
Mm-hmm.
themselves, because that's most important, because some dances they will look at they friend or their neighbor and try to keep up, and I need to know that you know the routine in its entirety
Exactly.
by yourself with facials and proper technique.
Right. So I think we're kind of similar on that. The week
Mm-hmm.
before, that's usually what I do. Because one thing I don't like for anybody, I'm just so selfish. I don't want anybody else, I don't want the flag coach, I don't want the band director to get on my girls
Mm-hmm.
so bad. So usually,
Well, really, it's not their place to.
true. But
Unless they
when
coming in late. That's different with the band director.
So when like it's crazy because when it gets to the week of competition and we're outside, the thing is everybody has to hit their mark.
Mm-hmm.
So the band has their formations and the girls have to whittle through it. So we
Mm-hmm.
do it, they do it on their own at practice. So when we get on the field and it's just you got some band directors that are different than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some if anybody don't hit their mark, they're getting yelled at. And I just
Mm-hmm.
be like, y'all hit your mark so all of us can go home.
Right.
But I usually prepare mine very, very well. Well, I try to.
Yeah.
So when that happens, then yeah. So I think it's real similar to that. I try to do everything I can do the week before. So the week of it can be just a smooth practice and nobody's looking at me like, did you practice with these girls at all?
And see, that's what I do. And then like my first team, like all my teams, when I first started coaching with them, or if they've never competed, fat means greasy. I think that's the right term,
No,
because I
fat
tell
don't
them
mean I thought it was fat don't mean greasy.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the term is. But I tell them that all the time. I say, y'all gonna get y'all asses handed to you. And I
Okay.
tell them they don't listen to me. And when they come back, you said we was gonna lose. I said, just because
Yeah.
you the best dancer on this scene, don't mean you the best dancer out there. And you have to
Right.
work hard. And I tell my girls, especially my school teams, we have to work 3 times harder than community teams because we're on limited amount of time. We don't
Exactly.
get the luxury of having 4 to 5 practices or Saturday practices like that because we have to go through approval. We can't do last minute. It's even to the point where y'all can't come to my house if I need you to come to my house to practice, because it's certain rules with schools where you can't,
Do it.
interact with children in personal settings.
Yep.
Now, if the parents, that's different. If the parents are okay with it, but I try to avoid that because you just don't need nobody running back and saying anything, and then you get called
Mhm.
into the principal office wondering why you had the dance team at your house.
Right.
So we don't get to have that luxury of all the time in the world. We don't get to call
Girl.
a last minute practice after thin air.
That's true.
So
I actually utilized that luxury. I didn't have that luxury either, but my parents, who I really had some good parents this
mhm,
past year. They came to my job. I think one day the school let out early, but we still had to practice. And I was actually working at another school. So they
mhm,
came and we did practice in my classroom. I pushed all my desks back because I was only like a behavioral tech or whatever. So I
mhm,
didn't have kids in my room often. So they was in there during COVID. I think you saw they was in my garage
mhm.
and in my backyard. So
Yeah,
yeah.
with my personal dance team, we did my house, because I didn't have a location, which is difficult to find here in Memphis that's affordable. But we did that, and I mean, I had a team I had like 15 girls, and then it went down to like 10, and then I had to cut some, and then they quit, and I ended up with 3. So I took those 3 girls to a competition, and we placed in. We didn't do stand battle, so we did field show and we did creative, and we placed in both of those categories. I
That
think it
is
was either
one
second or
thing I
third.
really want to do. I want to do creative. I really do. Like, I want to, you know, be in a situation where, have a team and we get invited all the time, but our schedule never permits. I really want to do creative. I just really do. I just want to try it
Well,
one
you should
time.
try it this school year. Is just look for a competition that has enough time ahead of time so you can do all the
Yeah,
proper things that
cause
you
see,
need.
I think I saw on the rules that in order to compete, you have to have at least like 3 or 4 on the team.
It varies from competition to competition, I think.
And so, yeah, so I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna pay more attention because I was really looking last year. I was really, really looking, but I really didn't want to do nothing big. I want to do something small because the only thing they've done was showdowns. And the new band director, he's like, no on showdowns. So, and I really want to do that. Really, really,
You
really bad.
should. That's my favorite category. Like I don't care what
I want to
anybody
do
say.
it. I
I
want to have
love.
the costumes. I have a theme and everything that I want to do. It
Yeah,
hasn't been
we.
done yet that I've seen, and I really want to do it.
So after we get through with doing the cuts, doing the last minute preparations, now we get to the day of the competition. What are some of the things that you do like the day of
Oh,
the
baby,
competition?
pray, baby, at Woosah.
Right.
I have a bag that has everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that my day of bag. I have that. Um, I do morning check-ins. I try not to be a total bitch the day of, and I do morning check-ins. I tell everybody good morning. Just remind them what time to be at the school. If they're going to be late, if they have any questions, let me know. If I need to pick anybody up, I try to be as accessible as I can
Mm-hmm.
because people will wait to the last minute to be like, I don't have a way to school, and it's going to piss me
And that, you know what, that agitates me, because and
off.
your mama and daddy know. Well, hopefully they know. For the past couple of weeks, especially if they've been dropping you off and picking you up from school, that there's a competition. Why wait to tell me the
Exactly.
night before or the day of that you don't have a ride?
Baby, I can't. I can't. My no. So, but girl, we do that. Uh, do their hair. I try to make the whole prep, the hair and makeup just kind of fun because everybody's running around, trying to get everything done. So I try to make it fun, make sure they're not nervous, just kind of talk them off the ledge. And that's about it. Have them practice on their own, practice in their heads. I try to be engaging, but kind of just still kind of off, give them some space to breathe
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. And
Yeah,
just
that.
remember when you go, I always tell them who we're going against, what all the schools to be there. And I always remind them about sportsmanship. Don't be acting like some of everything at this place.
Yeah, because you never know, because you don't know what the judges are looking for.
Yep.
Don't be intimidated by bigger teams or well-known teams, because a lot of the teams that we love here in Memphis and that have built a reputation, my teams have gone against and we've placed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we place higher than them. We've done stand battle with some of these same teams, and I just tell them, hey, everybody has an opportunity to win. Everybody, don't win all the time. So you just
Right.
have to do the best that you can do. Give your all. If you've practiced, if you prepared yourself, and you have studied what you're supposed to do, then you gotta trust that. Don't be intimidated because such and such is in the building. And we know that there's politics to it.
Yeah.
With my teams, it's always, well, who are they? But if you're good enough, they're gonna have to reward you. It may not be first place, even if you feel like you deserve first place. You may get
Yep.
second or third place. That's a key indicator that's saying that, hey, you're really good, but we don't know you yet, so you got to get in the mix a little bit more before you can start getting first place. I've had that happen to me, and I'm okay with it,
Yeah, me
because a
too.
lot of the teams, they work together, and it's the I scratch your back, you scratch my back type of
Yeah, and
mentality.
that I really like that.
So it's I say to the new teams, go ahead and get your feet wet, whether it's with a performance or a competition, because sometimes, and I've said this previously, them seeing what it's really like and what they have to do to win will put fire up under them for them to come back. Okay, we got to do this. We got to make sure we look like this. We got to make sure we do that. Sometimes I've had to let my kids sink and drown, not literally, but figuratively, on a dance floor, so they wouldn't be feeling themselves, because they think they got it down because we've been practicing in this room for the past 2 months. And then they get out there on the dance floor and they completely forget, like, sometimes you have to experience those failures in order to be motivated to win. And I guarantee you, every time that has happened to any one of my dancers or teams that I've coached or worked with, it motivated them to do better, and we end up placing every competition that we've been in, because we had to see, we had to experience. Even myself as a coach, with all the experience I have had with not just Major Red, but just in general with competitions and dance and stuff, sometimes I'm still not prepared for certain stuff, because you'll get to a competition and it'll be a team that show up at the clear blue sky, killing technique, stunts, facials, all the type of stuff, and you have to be prepared for. It's basically anything goes these days with these teams. So many that are showing up, and then you do all that hard work and then you lose to a drill team. So
Okay.
it's so many variables, and there's no shade to the drill teams or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, you have to be prepared for anything, and give it your all regardless of where you are, who you're going against. Like, your focus really should be on your team and not who you are competing against.
Exactly. One thing that I saw that I actually liked was when I used to go to different events, they will have teams to just perform, like during intermission and stuff. And you could tell, if it was like kind of like a new team, like you could just tell everything. And I thought that was just like a really, really, really great way to just get the team name out there, have the team get their feet wet in a non-competition type setting, just more like a showcase.
And that way they still have an opportunity to see what's going on. I had my girls, the last team I worked with before COVID, I think we did quite a few performances, and it was to the point where they were like asking us to come and perform. This is elementary school. And I was just so excited, but at the same time, we couldn't really fully prepare for a competition because we were so busy doing performances specifically for the school. Like, that school, and I love it, they had an event almost every week. And this was another question I want to add. How do you prepare for parades? Because that's different. Competitions, performances, even though parades kind of fall under performances, but a parade is constant motion and it requires a lot of stamina. So, that's the next question I want to ask. How do you prepare your dancers for a parade?
Well, you mentioned something with the stamina, and that's something that they do, regular. Their daily practices is, they exercise before they start. But just like, it's almost similar to competitions. What songs that we got to figure out what songs the band is going to play. And it is very, very important to get the version that the band is going to use, because you can ask, like, say for a Christmas parade, they be like, oh, we're going to do Jingle Bell Rock. Okay, baby, which one?
Right.
Because everybody's doing like the same thing. And that's honestly, that's about it. We see what songs, the timing of those songs. I usually try to get the band director to send me their version that they already have, send it to me so we can use that, so we can get that timing down. And I ask for the order, because a lot of things what we do, like you said, it is constant motion. We'll have the first song that they do. Then in the middle, if it's a cadence, they have, a cadence march, and then the second song. Because during parade, the band director always yell codes, either play one or play one, then half of two. It's always something. So we all have to be in sync with what the band director says, because I'm all the way to the front, and the band is like
a little further
back there. So whatever they say, because we have to know, only thing that we have to go on is the drum major. The drum major is in front of us, so only thing they know is that they're counted down, and we just hope and pray. And usually it is that the song that they called out is the song that we've been practicing on, because we usually start right when that song starts. So it's no downtime. But that's pretty much it. But like the same thing, we practice outside. We're going around the parking lot, lap after lap, doing the whole parade routine over and over and over.
Because I think we ended up in the same parade.
Bill.
Yeah. Was it? Which one was it? Was it the?
I think it was the Christmas parade. That's when I saw you.
And that was their very first parade. Them babies, they did so good. That was their first parade. So what I did was we did Let's Groove Tonight by Earth, Wind, and Fire. I said, we're going to do one song. I said, we're going to do that whole song. We're going to walk and wave and throw candy. And we're going to do the song again.
The best thing. I'm like, shit, that's what we
and
need.
We had to, I had 3 captains to do the routine in front of the girl, or call the stands, so that everybody can see somebody, because with the girls being different heights and stuff like that, it might be difficult to see. And I also would raise my hand, do 1, do 2, do 3 to my captains, so that they will be prepared. So for me, I think they did an excellent job, because this is a bunch of 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders never doing a parade. And then they lasted as long as they did. I was so proud of them. I just was not expecting that. And then the crowd response was good.
I remember saying they were so cute. I wish I could.
And we had to prepare for their parade in 1 week.
Yep, I think that's what we did. And one thing that we also did with Bill, and I think Whitehaven too, we partnered with the other KIPs around Memphis.
That's smart.
So it was so much fun, but it was so many girls. Each team contributed to, the parade routines and everything. And it was really, really good. But that took some work, because we all practiced on our own. And at the end, when it got close to it, we did it all together. It was some work.
It worked out though. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Well, we've covered what are the first steps when preparing for a performance, a competition, and then what are the steps that you prepare for, the day before, the week of, for the competition, and how do you prepare for parades? Because I feel like parades is a different level. Even though it's a performance, it's still a different level. And I'm talking about actual parades, not the category, for those of you that may not be aware. Is there anything else that you feel like you would need to do to prepare for either one of those things?
One thing I would make sure, because you can tell you can tell your dancers in and everything, but it's very, very important to make sure your parents know exactly what to expect. One thing that they do the supportive ones that they do is kind of having a itinerary. We're gonna be at the school at this time. We plan on leaving at this time. No, we're gonna start doing this at this time. The girls are scheduled to perform at this time. So I just like to make sure everybody is on the same page. Everybody, because it leaves very little room for error. And if something was to happen, we can fix it quickly.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Thankfully, the last team I worked with, I did have a sponsor, and she took care of the logistics. But when I had to, when I was working with a school, I actually started off as the sponsor, and then I had to end up taking over as the coach, because we had to get rid of the coach. But calendars, letters to the parents, text messages, phone calls, emails. Like, I cover all bases. So you can't say I did not try to contact you and let you know what is going on. Like you said, an itinerary for the day of, meetings, in-person meetings. Sometimes I would make them mandatory. Like, if you want your child to perform, you got to be here. So that we can have a face-to-face conversation. So you can ask me whatever questions or express whatever concerns you have. And, I can inform you of everything, like you said, to expect the day of, the day before, even the day after, just to make sure everybody's prepared, make sure costumes are distributed, properly. Because sometimes I would just bring the costumes myself because I didn't want nobody leaving anything behind,
Girl,
Oh, I forget my...
Right. And see, that's what I need. So anybody out there, I need a coach. You mentioned sponsor and coach, and that's all I've been trying to only be for the past year. I just want to be a sponsor. That's it. And I end up always having to coach. But I have always end up getting some really, really good coaches. I just
What days do y'all practice? What days y'all practice?
Starting off when school starts, I know we have a performance the first day of school. After that, I am honestly going to see, and this may be a good chance to kind of do my creative. I got to see where the band is. That's the thing. I can't always just go and do what I want to do. I always have to see where the band director is, what he has planned, or what his calendar looks like first. And we have to work around that if we want to do anything on our own.
Okay.
So practice,
because I may know some people that might, can help in that area. Cause see, I'm not really versed in the band part of it. When I was coaching at Kirby, we did have a band, but we didn't start doing it together. I think I was gone by then once they merged the dances with the band. So I'm not really familiar with that part of it, like a competition part for sure, but just the battle of the bands, that's not really my strong point. But I do know some people that I may can connect you with. So I probably inbox you.
Yeah, because I'd be looking to have, I love to have an array of coaches. Just,
and that's smart.
Yeah, just for security purposes. And I know, sometimes, people can't make everything. So I just like to have a bunch.
Or choreographers. Maybe you could just bring in guest choreographers to just come up with a routine for them.
You know what? I have done that, and they do. Like, my girls, they get so attached. And me, I know it's me. I get attached. I be like, oh my God, I love you so much. Come tomorrow. I'll pay you. So.
Right, I understand. Because I know when I came and did the technique or whatever, I was like, well, I gotta do
so much.
something else.
And I was like, okay.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I feel like we had a really great conversation about preparing for competitions and performances. Those of you that watch the live or watch the replay, don't be afraid to comment on the actual replay, because either one of us will respond to any questions that you may have. Don't be afraid to inbox us. We are willing to share our information. I may do a video on how to prepare for a competition based on the information we both shared. I said I want to start doing more content for my YouTube channel. I already started doing my little memes or whatever to make people laugh and start a conversation. But I think I want to start doing videos as well. So
that'd be good. And if there's any coaches, I've been trying to find any. If there's any coaches in the area or anywhere who are, doing band majorettes or affiliated with band dance teams, if you have any questions,
and you might want to look at getting a former. Well, you probably have a former HBCU line dancer, because they'll be more familiar with how that goes.
Yeah, I have a couple of coaches who perform on like Jackson State, who are JSS and everything that I get. But I be trying, since I'm here, I be trying to get people here, because during the season they're at school.
Yeah. See, we don't have, because I don't think we have any HBCU No, we don't, because we only have one HBCU here, and that's Lemoore.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think
I
they
don't
have
think
major
it's too
risks.
many bands,
But you
but
might can get a former, someone that
yeah.
graduated
Oh yeah.
from there.
That's usually my coach. But what I was saying is, if there's anybody out there who have any questions,
Oh,
anybody
okay.
that starts to, be over a team that is band affiliate, you have any questions on packets, contracts,
All that. And so
anything.
that's gonna be another episode about paperwork, the proper paperwork. So, everybody be on the lookout. Every week we're trying to bring new information to, help those teams that are, just starting out or may have to restart or rebrand,
Mm-hmm.
that have been struggling and need information because it's out there. You do have some people that don't want to share, but that's not the case here. Our
Mm-mm.
purpose is to share, educate, inform, inspire, all that good stuff. So don't be afraid to hit either one of us up or any guest, that has been on the show.
Yeah.
They're all willing to help out. So in closing, make sure that you follow us at Divine Dance All Stars or Divine Dance All Stars Apparel on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff, and check out all our content. I want to thank you, Jennifer, once again for coming and sharing
I'm
with us.
here, honey. I ain't got no
You're
life.
gonna be my consistent one, and I really appreciate that because my other guys, they, have a lot of different things that they have going. So it's always great when they can come on and share. If you are
Mm-hmm.
interested in being a guest on the show, feel free to inbox me or email me at divinedanceallstars@gmail.com because we want to open up the conversation to everyone within the community because you just never know if someone has something interesting or helpful to share. So make sure that you do that. And thank you guys for watching. You guys be blessed
Thank
and have
y'all.
a great night. Now I have to
Look at you reaching. Am I still live? Am I still live? Okay, I'm gone. Bye, y'all.